All right. Well, thank you. Today we have Dr. Megan Pasookhush with us, and she is from the Wellness Pharmacy of Cary. And we are so excited to have her on here. I'm so excited to have her on here. She is a dear friend and colleague, and we have just had so much fun over the years just talking about natural health and different wellness solutions. And so, welcome to the show, Dr. Megan.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I'm so excited for your podcast and I'm honored to be asked to be a guest on your show and on your podcast today. So thank you for having me. What an exciting and what a time we're in, an exciting time to start a podcast.
Absolutely. There is so much going on in the world and so much to talk about. And it makes the health aspect even more important. And we're actually going to dive in deeper into that in a little bit, talking more about like, what is healthy? What does that really mean? But in the meantime, just so that our listeners can get to know a little bit more about you, share your story about what got you into pharmacy and even further your interest in specifically compounding.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess it goes all the way back to when you try to decide, what do I major in when you go off to college, when you leave your mom and dad and you go off to this big world and you go, oh man, we're going to have to pick something. I've always been very interested in healthcare, in helping people with to improve their health and helping sick people. And so I thought, I think I want to do healthcare. And I explored different options of that: nursing, medical school, dental school. And I just came down to pharmacy school because it just suited me better. I like the chemistry aspect of it. I like to know how things work, and I like to be at a place in the community where people have access to me, and I'm able to just help them. And so it piqued my interest in pharmacy. And once I got into pharmacy, and part of the courses that we were taking in pharmacy school was compounding. So that is the art of medicine, pretty much. It's the starting point and the foundation of medicine. I don't know if you guys ever remember, and this might tell people my age, but do you remember watching Dr. Quinn, the medicine woman, way back in the day?
Her. Yes, I love her. And oh boy, I wish I paid more attention, right? Because I love all of that.
I would love to go back and watch that. I don't know if they have it on Hulu, but we should look for it, Dr. Quinn. So just, I like to just bring that up so people will see, oh, medicine, you used to go out and forage and find things and make it into a medication so you can help to, certain illnesses, or putting on a wound or whatever it may be. And that's what compounding is making medication. Although we don't go out in the woods looking for things, we actually use FDA approved ingredients, pure powder to make our medication. But it was, it just opened up this whole new field of how can I make a difference, because we're not one size fits all. Everybody is different. Their needs are different. So we compound for pets. We compound for people that have allergies to everything. I have patients that should probably live in a bubble and they can't take commercially available medication. We make it for them. And we can be so creative in dosage forms, little babies, kids, things that are not commercially available. That's what compounding pharmacies can help you with. And I just thought, wow, what a better way to put all of the creativity that I love to use into helping people. So so I got into compounding, and I started my compounding pharmacy in Cary, and I got into helping. So my focus for the compounding pharmacy is women's health. And being a mom myself and having to go through, I only have one child. I have a son who's now a teenager. He's 13, but I can't say that it's been such a joyful experience, but as a mom and as a woman, your body goes through, when you do have a child, so many changes, right? And some of those changes, I was just told, hey, you know what? That's just how it is. This is life, and you're a mom now. There's a lot of stress. And I go, no, I can't accept that. You mean to tell me I have to live with this? You mean to tell me my options are medications and, like I was offered Xanax for anxiety, Ambien for sleep, and, being a pharmacist dispensing medications all day long for years, you would think I would say, oh yeah, that's what I need. No, that's not what I said. I thought, in my deepest gut reaction was, no, I think there's something more to that. I need to find out why I'm feeling this way. And so I got into women's health. I got into looking into women's hormone and balancing, optimizing hormone, which was a humongous piece of the puzzle of where you start with root cause medicine. So that led me into functional medicine and, working more towards finding the root cause, using more of a natural modalities, whether it's supplementation, nutrition, mind body medicine, just everything you can put together to have the best solution for that person. And I do really respect the differences. We're all so different, and so why should our care be the same?
I agree 100%. It's that bio-individuality that we've all been given, right? And we're all unique, and we should never be following the same model as, somebody different, somebody down the road, like we should all be getting the care that our bodies need. And that's why I love so much what you do. The work you do is so important, especially for women and women's hormones, because you're right. I mean, everything changes, but what I'm seeing too, and I know you're seeing this as well, as we get more into this, it's a whole other conversation that we could have and spend an hour on, talking about toxins and all of that, the toxin burden on our bodies. But we are seeing younger and younger girls having more hormonal problems and hormonal dysregularities. And so it shouldn't be that way. And that's why I love and I respect so much what you do, because you really, really want to help that patient. Each individual patient is on a case by case, basis. Like, you will, really go dig deep and get to that root cause. And what I also love about your compounding pharmacy is that, it's clean. There are no fillers, there are no additives, there are, I mean, I don't know if anybody listening, if you've ever like smelled some of your medications and there's like this horrible odor. I mean, there, let me just say, NP thyroid, for example, smells like cat urine. I mean, it just does. It smells like cat urine. So there's something in there that is, whether it's the filler or, I'm not even really sure what it is that's making that specific odor, but when you get a drug through a compounding pharmacy, it's all clean, it's all natural. And so that really makes a difference. All natural in the fact that it's clean. Like you said, it's all FDA approved. And so you're not getting all those fillers. And a lot of medications have gluten in them and different things that people really are intolerant to. So it's important to know that you have an option. You can go and get your medication from a compounding pharmacy.
That's right. And that's right. And the industry has been, somewhat of a target, for many years now, because, it's taken away from, I don't want to get into it too much, but it's taken away from a lot of the pharmaceutical big pharma. But, this is what we do here, in compounding pharmacy. Like I said before, it's the foundation of medicine. It's like the start of medicine is from, somebody taking something, mixing it together. But now, we do it so much better, and we have the technology to help us. But we have to, I like to urge everybody. I know there's so many different causes to fight for these days, but to fight for your compounding pharmacy, because they could be the last line if anything ever happened. You don't want the capability of somebody local able to make your medication to go away, because they could be a life-saving source, someone that you can go to make the medication that you need that otherwise may be on back order, may not be able to be imported in from another country. I mean, we've been through shortages before, drug shortages, and the compounding pharmacy can actually, any compounding pharmacy can help you go through, get through shortages of medication when something's not available.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that kind of leads me into my next question too. What would you say is your very biggest frustration in the whole pharmaceutical industry?
Well, I think it's the cookie cutter approach. And it's just, and I think it's pharmaceutical, but it's also the whole industry of healthcare in today's world. Is not just to pinpoint it to pharmaceutical industry, because pharmaceutical industry is a tool that that healthcare industry nowadays, the way that medicine is being practiced, is one of the tools that they use. And unfortunately, it's not just one of the tools, it's like the go-to gold standard main tool that they use. And that to me is the most frustrating part. I think time and place, I'm not against medication in any means. Every medication has a side effect, and then if one medication has two side effects, then you end up taking another medication to combat the side effect, the first one, and then that one has 3 or 4 more side effects, and it just kind of dominoes. And so I think using, some things you can't get away with not being on a medication for a long time, but a lot of times if we were to approach health differently, and instead of just relying on that the magic in the pill bottle to not just resolve your symptom, but really to get to the root cause and bring health back, so that you can have control of your health again. I think that is the most frustrating part, is that concept of root cause medicine, and not bring about any other harmful substances into your body. The concept of you going down to the nutrition piece, the lifestyle modification piece, bringing in genetics, looking at and understanding someone's genetics and see how they're actually utilizing and metabolizing, eliminating certain chemicals. I mean, that comes into play. Why would somebody not respond to a certain thing like another person would? So genetics, so many different things. The most frustrating thing is us not putting the pieces of the puzzle or the foundational pieces together to help that patient. And we have been solely relying on things that are in the bottle.
Right. I would agree with you on that, because health is everything. And if we don't have our health, what do we have? And so it's the whole picture. It's that bioindividuality again. It's getting to the root cause of what is going on. So let me ask you, we're going to talk for a minute about what is healthy. What does that really mean? And I have a quote from Thomas Edison. He said, "The doctor of the future will no longer treat the human frame with drugs, but rather will cure and prevent disease with nutrition." So I don't know if people remember that he said that, or think back, but that is so true. And that's what we're hoping for, right? We're hoping for that to come kind of full circle, because back in Dr. Quinn's day, that's
Yeah.
what they did. And so,
Yeah.
not to get into a big pharma discussion, but let's talk about what is healthy. Is health simply the absence of sickness, or is healthy in the present state only?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Michelle, because, for example, and I know, I'm sure you get this too, when you speak to some, okay, let's just bring it to one little niche of subject. So let's bring up healthy diet, right?
Okay.
So you you ask, okay, so let's say people, I have people come to me all the time and reaching out, hey, can you help me with this? I feel so bad. I hadn't slept, weight gain, blah, 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 all of this stuff. And then you just ask them questions, and then you say, well, how do you feel about your nutrition? And they go, oh, I have a really healthy diet. And that's the key, is what is healthy for them might not be what they're doing or what they think is healthy for them. And it's a really, it's a statement where you can't just say, oh, okay, you have a healthy diet, let's move on to the next thing, because you really don't dig into, what's healthy for you. Well, I don't know. I eat, and for example, I eat tomatoes, I eat fresh milk, and so they'll name some of the things that are inflammatory, right? The foods that are inflammatory. And then you go, well, that could be part of your issue. Actually, that could be your main issue. It's what you're eating, right? Because they could be sensitive to those things. So what is healthy? What is a healthy diet? What is a healthy lifestyle? What is a healthy anything? I don't, it has to be, I think it's a process where people have to research themselves and get to know and be really in tune with their body to know what is healthy for them, right? Is it free of disease, or I don't know, is it free of disease, or does healthy mean if I am to encounter a virus, then my body is healthy enough to overcome it? Is that, to me, I think that's healthy, right? You're in a healthy state when your body can overcome it, right?
Right. And that's the thing, can we fight off those viral infections? And that kind of leads us into gut health and how important that is too. But um, can you speak about that a little bit? How does that relate to um, really our immune system and preparing our immune system to be able to be in that healthy state to fight off virus?
Yeah. You know, let's just, I think a lot of people, and this is why, and unless you're in functional medicine and really understand, just the fact that your body is just one big system, not everything is compartmentalized, just like how it is right now in allopathic medicine. If your stomach doesn't feel good, then you go to see your GI doctor, and if you have brain fog, then you go see the neurologist. Something's wrong with my brain. But the gut mind connection, I know you've heard of that, and you probably know a lot about that.
Yes.
It's huge, and it's such a big thing. And so is your gut immune, right? At least 70%, if not 80% of your immunity is in your gut.
Right.
And then a lot of people think, because I talk to patients and they go, no, I have a healthy gut. What does that mean for them to say I have a healthy gut? Does that mean you just don't have stomach rumbling when you eat something, or maybe loose stools when you eat something, or you don't have stomach pain? Does that mean you have a healthy gut? Or can you still have a healthy gut when you don't have any symptoms, or unhealthy gut when you don't have any symptoms?
Right. I mean, that's true. And really, like you said, 70% or more of our immune system is in the gut. And so the gut is everything. All disease begins in the gut, right? And we don't want disease to, manifest in other parts. So we really have to keep bringing it back to our gut health and how important that is. And um, we could talk about elimination. We could talk about, just how our body absorbs and
Yeah.
all of that.
And the big humongous thing right now is the microbiome,
Yes.
is the gut bugs,
Yeah.
right? Like the
Right.
good guys, because you have good gut bugs, bad gut bugs, and they
Right.
have to balance each other out. I mean, we're all composed majority of our body and our DNA is from the microbiome. Like those bacteria that everybody want to kill off because
Right.
it's hand sanitizing everywhere.
Yes.
From morning to night, let's just alcohol off everything. And, so
Right.
does that really help our immune system, or are we doing things to actually harm us? By killing off the good and the bad bacteria all the time and not allowing your body to have such a balance. It's all about balance, right? We
Right.
talk about hormone, it's about balance. When we talk about gut, it's about balance. So, addressing a healthy microbiome, it's almost like you have to think of them as, being part of your, did you ever have an ant farm growing up? And you have to
Of course.
Okay, it's like that. Like you got to think, okay, I've got an ant farm, I've got a microbiome farm in my gut. So what am I going to feed them today? And
Right.
how do I ensure that they have a good environment? So they're all living in harmony, singing kumbaya in my gut.
Right. And then the rest of your body systems are more in harmony and more in balance too, because again, the gut, it's so vital. It's so important. So, yeah, I love that. Let's switch gears a minute and let's talk about, do you consider healthy as being within the normal ranges of lab testing? Because I know a lot of people will go get their labs done and they come back normal, but they still feel like crap. And that's one of my big pet peeves. And that's one of my missions, is to help women feel empowered that they can, have a voice and speak for themselves about what those lab tests really mean. They don't need to just kind of walk away from the doctor's office scratching their head saying, great, I'm normal, but I still feel like crap. There's nothing normal about this. So can you speak to that? And I'm talking about the normal ranges of labs with or without medication too.
Oh yeah. So, normal ranges. So then you just have to think about, where did they get the normal ranges from, right? Are they taking the ranges from a population of people within this age group? So, just because it's normal doesn't mean it's okay. If you're not feeling well, then I always tell people, even though if your blood per lab testing, and it's specific, it is specific for that lab. So every lab is going to have their own range, right? So when people say, oh, I have this and this, and I always say, well, what did the lab say for that particular lab? What ranges did they use? For example, and normal doesn't mean optimal either. So there's a big difference between normal and optimal. Are you creeping up on a higher end where, let's just say the cutoff for A1C is, 5.5, okay, optimal, right? And then yours come back 1 year at 5. The next year at 5.2, the next year is 5.3. You're still normal. So does that mean you have to wait around until your lab becomes abnormal to start the change in your lifestyle and your nutrition? Because, you can't really depend on your physician, doctor, nurse practitioner, whoever it is that's doing your care, to say, look, I think you've gone above the normal range now, and it's time for you to start doing lifestyle modification. No, you have to, when you see the trend, you got to address it from that trend. So that's one. Another example is TSH. So that's a thyroid marker, is thyroid stimulating hormone that a lot of people get tested for. And so that, for example, it goes from I think the range is like from 1 to 5, right?
It's really broad.
Or maybe even 1 to 6 with some labs. So it's 1 to 5. So that's normal, right? And then optimal, like in functional medicine, optimal, we want to go for between 1 and 2, no more than 2. And I have so many patients that come back and they say, my TSH is 4, my TSH is, 5, and then my doctor said is good, because we talk about sex steroid hormones, balancing your progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen, but I always ask them, well, how's your thyroid? And they'll go, no, my thyroid is fine. I said, can you please show me the lab? Because it's never fine. It's always not optimal. And so if you don't address and have an optimal thyroid, it would be so hard for us to optimize your other hormones. So that's a big difference. Is what's optimal in functional medicine is not just about, the big large range. It's about, if you're not in an optimal range, how do we help you? How can you help yourself to get yourself to the optimal range? And that a lot of times it's modification of nutrition and something outside of pharmaceuticals, which, you know what, a lot of people want. They don't want to take pharmaceuticals all the time anymore. I guess it depends on where those people live too, but a lot of my patients are smart. They're smart and they want to be proactive, and they go, look, I don't want to use medication. I get so many people that, majority of the people that come to me, they say, I don't want to use medication. Well, I go, I don't blame you. They're telling this to a pharmacist, and a pharmacist said, I don't blame you. Let's help you avoid that.
Right. Well, and exactly, everything is gotten so much more expensive. Drugs are really hard to get that are within a reasonable cost. And so wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it really behoove everybody to just kind of make those lifestyle modifications and dietary changes that are needed for their specific body, so that they can get into those optimal ranges, so that they can get off of these medications? I love it when, just like you, is when somebody comes to me and they're like, I want to get off of XYZ. Like they want to get off the blood pressure medicines or whatever, or metformin or something. Like, yes, let's do that, because that's my goal for you too. So you're right. And that, in anticipating good health, that also helps us to be in that future state of health. I think mindset too, like, just jump into mindset real quick. If we're going to anticipate a future state of health, then that's really healthy too, because it is all connected. It's mind, body, soul. And if we are trying to remain healthy, we want to be proactive. I say we want to be proactive so we don't have to be reactive later.
Yes, yes. Reactive medicine is so much more expensive than proactive.
Exactly.
So it's crazy that we've come to a point where, it's taken me in my career, a complete 360, really, from what I was taught. I mean, I'm glad I was taught those things in school. I learned the conventional way of practice of medicine and pharmacy and pharmaceutical science and all of those things. And it's just now, things are making more sense. I have such a good foundation of understanding of mechanism of actions and, pharmacokinetics and all of those things. And I put it together now with nutrition and how your body function down to the cellular level, right? So it's really, it's really teaching and educating people about personalized approach to their body. And so genetics is a humongous thing. I always say genetics load the gun, and environment or epigenetic pulled the trigger. So you could be predisposed to having familial hypercholesterolemia, or dysfunctionality of your cholesterol, but you can change the epigenetic of that. You can change it by environmental. My husband's a great example, identical twin. He's the only one in his family who's not on medication for cholesterol. And we've done work, so much work. And now the lifestyle has completely changed. His diet, nutrition, lifestyle has completely changed. It's become his way of life now. And he doesn't need to be on those medication.
Right. And that's the goal. That's the end goal, right? Is to have that
Mhm.
optimal lifestyle. And like you said, it's just what he does. That's what his new life is now. This is how he eats, and this is how he treats his body. And yeah, if we could, just encourage everybody listening to really think about what does your body need optimally, and then you've got resources that you can get some help with, like Dr. Megan, like if you're local, like right here in Cary. And so she she is wonderful. She has really helped me. You've helped me so much with my own hormones, and just trying to get to the bottom of some things. And it's been really great. And just because I'm so holistic too, I love the fact that everything is so clean. And that way it's more bioavailable to my body, which is what I need. I mean, it's not going to do any good to be taking something or rubbing some cream on you for years if it's not doing anything. We want to create
Exactly.
change.
Exactly. And you know what we've created for you is your dose, as to
Right.
what your body needs, but it's never going to be the same. It's a moving target. When you talk about women and hormones, we're so difficult, right?
Right.
The guys just have it so easy, but the women, it's all about symphony and balance. Hey, this is how
Yeah,
God made us, right? He
that's
made it
right.
this way. We just have to learn about what our bodies like and don't like. And going back to what you said, it's all about creating your new normal. What is that new normal? You can do it just something as simple as with my son, when I completely changed, when I got into functional medicine, I completely changed his nutrition. And I didn't do it in one day, but I started calling spinach. I started calling them leaves and green chips. We pack you some green chips in your lunchbox with your protein or whatever. And so so that's what he ate with his. We didn't have potato chips in his box, and we just used spinach leaves, and he would just dip it in the little dressing. So that was normal to him. He didn't know that it's not, until you look at somebody else's lunch and you go, oh,
Right.
that yours is coming in a bag and mine is like,
Right.
but
Exactly.
that's my point is creating your new normal. And we can, with doing one small thing at a time, before you know it, 5 years from now, you look back and you go, wow, look at how far I've come.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Well, I would love to talk to you another time. Like we could talk for another hour on health and, nutrition, wellness, and all of that. But for the sake of time, I have one final question for you, Dr. Megan. I'm going to put you in the hot seat a little bit. Give us kind of an example of what is your favorite decadent dessert or your not so guilty pleasure.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I can do one.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so one thing that would always mess me up is if I go somewhere and they have creme brulee on their menu.
Yeah.
Whatever good streak of diet I've been on, a nutrition or whatever, it just falls right off when they say creme brulee, and I go, well, darn it. Give me one of those, please.
Right.
So that's my thing. But I think for something kind of more trendy that a lot of people have been doing is boba tea.
Yes. Okay. Fun.
Yeah, my
Very
son
fun.
loves boba tea, so we go out for boba tea as a treat every once in a while.
Good. Yeah, that is fun. That's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, awesome. Okay. Dr. Megan, I just love what you do so much. And you have, like I said, helped me so much personally with compounding my own hormones and just helping me like through that whole process. Tell our listeners where they can find you and how they can reach out to you.
Sure. So, a couple of ways to find me. Of course, with the pharmacy, you can go to carrywellnessrx.com or just search for Wellness Pharmacy of Carrie, the one and original Wellness Pharmacy, North Carolina, Wellness Pharmacy of Carrie. And you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Megan underscore RX, and I'm sure Michelle can put that on the show notes. We have Facebook page for the pharmacy, and also have a page for my wellness clinic, which is Forever Well Life Plan. And Michelle is familiar with that. She's been helping me out, helping my patients out with that clinic, where we do nutritional and also supplements and functional coaching, health coaching during using that website or that business. But follow me on Instagram for my personal Instagram, probably be the best way.
Okay, great. And yes, I will have all of that information in the show notes, and so everybody can reach out to you. And so Forever Well Life Plan is a wonderful, wonderful program as well. So it's helping lots and lots of people. So I'll definitely put that information in there too. Okay, well, thank you so much, Dr. Megan, for coming on the show. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you and share you with my listeners. Are you okay if we close out in prayer?
Please, I would love that.
Okay, awesome. Lord, we just thank you so much for this time together. And we ask that you would give us wisdom in each of our health journeys, and that you would open our eyes to see what you would have us to see, and open our ears to hear what you would have us to hear. And Lord, we ask that you would just bring your blessings upon each woman listening, and that you would help us to have your wisdom and your knowledge in the path that we each should take, Lord. We thank you so much in advance. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So good to see you, Dr. Megan. We'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks for having me, Michelle.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.